The Ragged Trousered Philanthropists by Robert Tressel.
Well, I'll be blowed.
What's that, Bundy? Another cert from Captain Kiddham at Kempton Park?
Oh, no. Only a letter from one of the likes of us proposing the town's rates be put up.
Has he gone raving mad?
Or more likely, is he a socialist? Not you, is it, Owen?
No, but if you take the trouble to read the letter, you'd see he had a just cause.
Not to put my rates up halfpenny in the pound, and a child due any day.
Children are the just cause prompting the rates rise. There is a dire need for many of them to be looked after.
Oh, just be blowed. Ain't he in the pound?
Forget any worries on that score. The council won't be swayed by a letter from the likes of us.
Unfortunately, you're right.
I know I am.
The council profess their concern for the state of the dear little mites by distributing rotten cast-off clothing and nourishment tickets, but won't take the obvious step that would raise £800 and provide sufficient food for all hungry children.
Paid for by the likes of me, who ain't got any.
Yeah.
This here letter writer isn't even a gentleman. It is a cost in the press.
Who's written it, Bob?
It's the secretary of the local trades council, a bunch of beer-sodden agitators.
Let them as us children look after their own instead of burning us with higher rates.
Can't you see that children are the responsibility of the community and not just their parents?
Of course it's on the parents. There you go again with your socialist prattle.
And when the children attain adulthood mentally or physically inefficient, they may burden us all by becoming criminals. If they're healthy, educated and brought up in good surroundings, they have a better chance of becoming honourable, useful citizens. Therefore, it is in the interests of all of us to see that their constitutions are not undermined by starvation.
Rubbish! Next it'll be the best of things for immigrants' children who seek to outbreed us, and a full penny in a pound increase.
Yeah.
We must make a stand for common sense and support them that's educated and born to lead.
There you go.
But anyway, enough politics. Enough. Papers away, come on, we've agreed this here break to be used to plan the Beano.
Quite right, Bob. There ain't much to look forward to, but thoughts of the Beano always bucks me up.
So who'll be attending then? Us what's here or further afield?
I say anybody who can pay his way. All them that worked on the cave would be alerted.
If we know where they are.
It troubles me greatly knowing where old Jack Linden is, the workhouse, after all his years of working.
It's a scheme of things, he was old and worn out, he had to be put away.
Well, like us not, it's a fate waiting for the rest of us. And sooner rather than later if rates go up.
Right, cheer yourself with here and now and talk of the Beano.
A steady living wage might leave some savings for provision for the future.
But there's no time for nonsense like that. The Beano!
It's all right, Ruth. You have a daughter. A lovely sister for Freddie.
William must not know.
Don't fret. William's still at work, but he'll be as pleased with a daughter as he would a son, as long as all's well. And it is. She's bonny.
It would have been best had she been stillborn.
Hush, Ruth. You make no sense. Your baby is fine and lovely.
No, I cannot leave her. William must not know.
How can you not? He's your husband.
Neither must the father, till the day he dies.
What are you talking about, Ruth? Hush now. Rest.
I curse that day, between helplessness. I should have fought. Oh Lord, deliver me from my torment.
Lie back. I will soon be well. Is she in delirium? She's distressed. Perhaps she will settle when William comes home.
Well, Tubberton Village did us proud last year.
There's nothing there. Save a good meal at a
There's
reasonable
plenty there.
rate.
Why are you four breaks to transport us to a place same as Mugsborough? What's the point?
Good food and good ale. Say London.
A proper Beano.
It cost twice or three times as much.
We're not saying stay in Tubberton.
Why visit the same public houses as last year?
We could move on having eyed the breaks for the day.
Hang on. I'm trying to write down an itinerary and I can't say all this talking.
It was a a good day out and no mistake.
Slow down, slow down. Oh, now, Bert, sharpen my pencil.
Will I be quitting on the Beano?
Of course not. You're too young and your mother could never afford it.
It was too long. Half day's wages forfeited.
Not forfeiting, giving up for pleasure.
No, Soberton, let's try somewhere else.
Is it half a day out? It's plenty out.
No. You can't blow my whistle. It's taken me nearly 10 years to be qualified foreman.
Excuse the dramatic intervention.
The what?
Have you got something to say, Barrington?
What does he know about our Beano?
Nothing, not being here last year.
I accept that, but as our time is at a premium, may I make a suggestion?
Concerning what?
How best you may run this meeting, Mr. Chairman.
You know how to do it better, do you?
Well, yes, I probably do.
I'm the foreman, one speaker at a time.
All right.
That's right.
What I say is...
Trousered village, right, full day. Onto Black Horse or burn it down.
No, I don't mind
Nobody eats a tree log and
The Black Horse
first
down
and
the
the
lane
last
is a
out
terrible
of
place.
So I clean that Black Horse out, burn it sand in, then we can have a cricket match.
Big and whistle.
Cricket.
What happens if the weather don't permit a cricket match? Barrington's got his hand up here.
May I just suggest a more efficient way of organising the day? We're wasting a lot of time shouting each other down.
Would you have us aping our betters in the House of Commons, then?
Actually, yes, something along those lines.
Well, I'll be blowed.
Does anybody oppose Mr. Crass for chairmanship of the Beano Committee? No. Mr. Chairman.
Right. Well, thank you, Mr. Barrington. I now propose that we vote on the idea that we should actually have an annual Beano.
A simple show of hands will do.
All those in favour? Bert, you can't come with us, so don't be voting. Be useful to make a fresh brew of tea, you know. Right, all those in favour again? Good, I say that was carried. So we're off then, yes? We're off. I propose that we start at the cricketers, where we can have a drink while waiting for the break.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. We've yet to decide whether it's an all-day trip or half a day. I'd suggest someone leads the debate on both propositions.
Yes, good point. And he must find a seconder in each case. May I have a proposer and a seconder for those wishing to have a full day's Beano?
Congratulations, Barrington. They've never been better ordered.
Sometimes it takes an outsider with no previous history within the group to organise it.
No, I'm for it.
There now, she has your look. See how she turned naturally to you. She needs your succour. Nurse her, Ruth. She's washed and comfortable. Ruth, you're upset and worn out. Rest and we'll hold the child.
Was at our front door. Go down and stop him coming up.
It was next door. William won't be home for a while yet, but then they'll want to see you both. If he's lively-spirited from drinking the good news, Mary and I will dampen his enthusiasm so we won't embrace you too hard. Men can be such fools when all the work is done. He'll be naming and speaking of her future, we'll see.
Named. She is no Eastern.
Ruth?
No.
She's asleep. Exhausted by effort and strange thoughts.
All right, now, the motion now is that the Beano starts at 12 o'clock, 2 weeks Saturday, meaning we only lose an hour's pay.
Yes, good.
May I have a show of hands, please? All right, motion passed. Before we move on to destination details, we have a proposition that our charitable donation be the same as last year. Any objections?
Charitable donation?
Tradition has it that a gift is given from the collected fund.
The poor wretches have scrimped and saved all year for this treat.
Rushton wouldn't look too kindly if they didn't give. This way he can double the contribution and receive a free advertisement in the paper by way of coverage of his generosity.
If those who expect to be praised and glorified for being charitable were never to give another farthing, it would be far better for the industrious poor.
No.
If it were not for all this so-called charity, starving unemployed men all over the world would demand to be allowed to work and produce the things they're perishing for want of. Instead, they eat the crumbs that fall from the rich man's table. Is your cough chronic, Owen?
I fear so. Until I feast on milk and honey.
As by way of a change, could I suggest we visit Madame Tussauds Waxworks? I've never been to the place and I've often wished to see it.
Anybody want to second that?
I'd like to see the Chamber of Horrors.
Quiet, Bert, you're going nowhere. Any seconder for Easton?
No.
Now, my fear would be them letting us into the House of Horrors, but not letting us out again.
Okay, so, let's vote on the itinerary.
Hey, let's have it again, Bob, and then we can savour it.
Right, assemble at the Cricketers, breaks leave at 12:30, and first stop the Queen Elizabeth. Then the 2 hours drive to Tubberton, stopping at the Blue Lion, the Warrior's Head, the Dewdrop Inn, and the World Turned Upside Down. We'll miss out the Black Horse, and will finally arrive for a fine feast at the Birdie's Hand. All
Hey, tell us what's waiting for us on the table, Bob. That way we can enjoy it many times before we get there.
Soup, vegetables, turkey, roast beef, roast mutton, lamb and mint sauce, plum duff, and a lot more. The landlord of the Bird keeps as good a drop of beer as anyone could wish to drink. And as for the teetotalers, they can have tea, coffee, or ginger beer.
Hey, that's a fine meeting, Bob.
Oh, well, you get used to it, being foreman. Thank you for all attending.
I'm not drunk, Ruth. I called at the Cricketers. I didn't know. I would have run straight home if knowing she'd been... Where is she?
Not here.
Not here with her mother? What's happening? Is this something terrible? Where's my child?
She's fully formed, safe and well, with Nora Owen.
But why not with you?
Leave me, William.
I'll need an explanation first. A newborn should be by its mother's breast, not down the street with a stranger.
I fed her and won't see her starve. I can't talk to you now, William. Please.
No, Ruth. You've been cold and strange with me since you became with child. I'll have no more of it. Why have you abandoned our daughter?
Leave me.
When I've an answer I'm satisfied with. Why are mother and child asunder?
I am too weak to talk through that terrible day and the consequences of drink.
No riddles, woman. What day? What are you talking about? Why are you here and our daughter with the Owens?
She is not our daughter, William. She is mine and another's.
Another's? Who? Don't talk, stupid woman. Mind the tongue and don't scold me so severely because I stopped off at the Cricketers.
I'm not hurting you for the sake of it. I'm stating consequences started that Saturday afternoon's shopping that have led to this. Our lives together are finished.
What shopping trip could lead to such mad talk? Have you gone out of your mind, Ruth, with this rambling nonsense?
These past months I have often thought so. The child is not yours, William.
And why not shove the poker through my heart? I know we haven't been getting on for a long time now, but I can't believe you'd descend to this cruelty.
Don't talk to me of cruelty. Left night after night wondering what time you'll arrive home from the Cricketers and in what state.
I stay where there's companionship, intelligent debate and good humour.
And to see that Bob Crass's mug is filled with ale.
Aye, there's that. There's many more who are sent to walking before me. I don't leave you short very often to pay our bills, and that's the reason why.
Short of love and affection.
Supplied by another if you're speaking truly and not just to hear me. This is a nightmare. I'll wake up soon.
No, it's all too real and you're as much to blame as I am. Your neglect, your cruelty, you left me vulnerable and exposed to a beast who took advantage.
Who? Who are you talking about?
No matter, he is well gone.
No matter? Who, Ruth? Who is it that's brought shame on me? Made me a laughing stock. I should be beating you, but you're at your most fragile. But I'll not spare this bastard when you tell me his name!
No, William.
Do a shout until the house, the old block tumbles down around us. And I will know, Ruth. Do a smash what little we have. Answer to speak. Who is he?
Time took me when you would sooner spend time playing shove halfpenny and not offend your drinking friends by leaving the cricketers with me.
Mary, did you know my shame?
I heard on my way up the stairs.
Well, you can all laugh at me now.
There'll be no desire to laugh.
You shamed me. But I'll not be the timid dog in this. I'll find your lover, Ruth. I'll find him.
He was never my lover, you fool. He took me when I was weak and faint from the drink you plied me with at the cricketers. I was helpless in the street, and he brought me home. That was a nightmare that even now I can hardly believe was real.
And your part in the deceit?
I swear I know nothing of what you say, William.
Calm yourself.
I will be the laughing stock of Mugsborough.
Does you concern your wife and child or your self-esteem?
My concern? My concern? How could this be happening to me?
You don't know for sure what is happening.
Ruth says the baby is not mine, but Slime's. Could this be true? Tell me it can't be.
Ruth was exhausted and in a delirium when I left. It seemed best to bring baby here to be cared for while Mary Linden tended to Ruth.
Delirium or not? Why would she say it if it's not true?
A lot of new mothers suffer from a malady. Give her some time and let's hope she'll be all right.
It can't be true, can it? Slime was a man of God. Oh no. A religious hypocrite, capable of taking another man's wife.
William, there is no sense in turning this over and over again in your mind. Your daughter is in safe hands and you must give Ruth a chance to recover from giving birth and regaining her true self.
Look who's here to see his mother.
My mother?
No, it's Mary come a-visiting.
Has she brought the clock? Has Tom repaired it?
Tom's long gone, Mother. Sit down, Mary, and tell us of life outside of hell.
It saddens me greatly to see you both in here. I'm still trying to summon up enough to take you home.
I know. You give me hope.
Months and months he worked at it, and nobody guessed who it was for. Come my birthday morning, the first thing I saw was the clock. Like an Indian mosque it was.
It was a fine gift from a fine son. Let's hear what news Mary has of Charlie and Elsie.
Oh, they are well and send their love. We're lodging with Ruth and William Easton. They've just had a baby daughter, but Ruth's not yet recovered in mind and body.
I expect the worry of another mouth to feed is a huge burden.
Ruth has hardly spoken these past 2 weeks since the birth. She feeds it, but won't look at it properly. She shows no interest other than it doesn't starve. Nora Owen cares for it most.
Frank and Nora Owen are good, kind people.
Yes, they are. And so is Joe Philpott, who sends you this.
Ah, tin salmon. Ah, he's very kind. But don't let it be seen. Theft is rife.
Joe Philpott had tears in his eyes when he spoke of the Beano and how he wished you'd be in his company.
I've got fond memories of my time with him on those trips. When is it planned?
Today.
5 months after my birthday, he was sent to Africa, and he died 6 weeks later. The clock is a fond memory of a fine son.
The mind wanders now almost all the time. But at least it blinds her to this awful place. I envy her. And my mates on the jaunt.
The bird in hand.
What?
Yonder, fine food, hearty ale.
Or maybe the roast cheek bucks and wenches to serve us.
You're a married man with a newborn babe. You shouldn't be thinking those thoughts.
Oh, let him be. Today's one of the very few when our thoughts are free.
You have to try and remember what it was like to be a young man, Joe.
Long, long ago.
You blighters, you'll be cursed soon enough with the weight of years on your weary shoulders.
Well, thank God for ale and the spring and the step it gives us. Pass us another bottle, Monday.
Hey!
Hey!
Afternoon, gentlemen. I'm the proud landlord of this fine establishment, the Bird at Hand, and, along with my wife, welcome you to enjoy our hospitality.
Well said, landlord. I'm Mr. Rushton, of Rushton and Company, and these men are my employees and distinguished guests, including Mr. Sweater, the Mayor of Mugsborough.
I'm honoured indeed. Dinner will be served in 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, if anyone would like a drink, the bar is open.
Steady on, lads, steady on. No need for a stampede. You know my needs, Easton.
Hi, Bob. Oh. Impressive setting.
I've never seen as many nice forks and spoons. Why the need?
It's a rich man's table, Bundy. Start from the outer and work in regarding cutlery.
Right, well, I'll follow your lead, Buddington.
Smell that cooking.
Turkey.
Roast beef.
Cabbage.
Perhaps mutton.
Mutton is there.
Pass the plum duff, Bundy.
I have to rub my eyes to make sure you haven't turned into a portion talking.
I've had no more than the rest of you. Certainly no more than me. The priest and no mistake.
I'll kill him for that. I swear I'll kill him.
If drink brings on such a sour temperament, William, why bother?
You'd have me not drink, and by no release ever from me torment.
The less said about your torment and drink, the better.
Slime has wronged me greatly, and he must be punished for it. I need to restore me honour.
You need to look after your wife and children and stop wallowing in self-pity.
Excuse me, am I not the innocent party in all this, and somehow you're trying to make me feel guilty?
What's going on here? Come on, William, to the bar. Help me carry the order.
He's a troubled man.
If William had attended to his wife as efficiently as he is at ensuring Crass's glasses fill, he would be the finest of husbands.
My God, I think old Misery's smiling.
Perhaps the beer you've drunk has equipped you with rose-coloured glasses.
No, Joe is right. Old Misery is smiling, but I suspect it's because he's sneaking gin into his ginger beer.
Never.
Watch him.
Oh, he is? And becoming less guarded as the gin takes effect? Don't tell me the devil has a streak of humanity after all.
Not if he can't be open and honest with us.
This could be a changing point in the way he treats us.
You're a good man, Joe Philpott. Always managing to find something pleasing in someone.
That's right.
Go on, Elsie, it's your go.
Could it be Dad?
No, he won't be back from the Beano for hours. I'll go and see who it is. Watch over the little ones.
It's time to throw the dice. Freddy's, but he's fallen asleep. I'll leave him. I'll just carry on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're going up.
Look who's here.
Hello, Mrs. Easton. Freddy's fast asleep. That's fine. Leave him be, please, Frankie.
You're right, Ruth.
Fine, thanks. I just wanted to see the baby.
Carry on with the game, children. Ruth and I'll go through. You sure everything's all right? Can I make us some tea?
Oh, no, thanks. I won't trouble you. I want to spend some time with the baby.
Of course. I'll leave you here with her.
Thank you, Nora. You've been so kind.
Has Mary returned from her visit?
Not yet. I don't expect she'll be so long. She was keen to deliver the salmon from Joe Philpott, but it's not a place to linger.
The authorities don't encourage it for fear of causing restlessness. Are you sure you don't want any tea?
No, thanks. I just want to sit with the child. For 2 weeks, my mind has been all over the place, but now I know what I must do. She's mine, and I must face that.
She's a lovely young thing. You'll be comfortable with her given time.
Yes, I think the time is right. Is Freddie all right with you?
Of course. Frankie loves him being here along with Elsie and Charlie. Why don't you sit down and I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Nora.
There you go. I'll see to the children. Give you some time alone.
You're very understanding.
All right, men. Sit quiet. A wonderful meal and good ale, mates. Let's give the committee 3 cheers for the organising. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
Stay up. here comes old misery.
So tells it's time to get back to work.
Not with that smile on his face.
Quiet for Mr. Hunter.
I have worked for Rushton & Co. for many years, as have some of you men. I know you will agree with me that it is a privilege to serve such an esteemed master who's known throughout Mugsborough for his charitable work. I have much pleasure in asking you to stand and raise your glasses to toast his health.
Musical honours, chaps. Hey!
I now request the landlord to replenish our glasses. We are exceptionally honoured to have the Mayor of Mugsborough as our special guest today, and he would like to say a few words.
Thank you. It's gratifying to see the good feeling between Mr. Rushton and his workmen. Masters doing the brain work and men the handwork. Masters and men pulling together, doing their best, and realising that their interests are identical. The true solution to social problems is work and plenty of it. Not the silly nonsense shouted by red flag wavers who want everything shared out for nothing. Most of those fellows are too lazy to work for their living.
Your turn, Charlie. Nothing will wake Freddy up now.
Throw the dice, Charlie. Oh, Ruth. You all right?
Yes, I'll take the baby with me.
Are you sure?
Just for a little while. You will look after Freddy, won't you?
Of course. Will you be all right when William returns from Beano?
Oh, yes. Everything will be fine by then. Thanks for everything, Nora.
She is warm enough, is she?
She is. I'll take care of her now. Mum, what's the matter?
What?
It's your turn to throw the dice.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh.
2.
No look.
And if ever the socialists got the upper hand, there would just be a few of the artful dodgers who would get all the cream, and there would be nothing left for the rest. There have to be masters and workers. And as long as the masters are as clever and bountiful as Mr. Rushton, and the workers as grateful and well-behaved as you chaps, then everything will carry on in a grand manner.
What are you going to say to a clever speech like that, then?
The socialists have nothing to say now.
Yeah, well, why don't some of you get up and make a speech back then, eh?
Why
not, eh? Owen, come on, Owen!
Now, I didn't know there were any socialists here. But at the same time, I'm rather glad that I just said what I did, because it just shows you what sort of chaps these socialists are. What they like is to get hold of a few ignorant working men in a public house, and then they can talk by the mile, regular shop law. I'm right and everybody else is wrong. You know the sort of thing I mean, yes? When they find themselves in the company of educated people, then mum's the word. So, next time you hear any of these shop lawyers' arguments, you'll know how much it's worth.
It may or may not be true that socialists...
Name, man, name. Let me know which professor of law and politics I'm up against.
George Barrington, Your Honour. It may or may not be true that socialists always know when to speak and when to keep silent. But the present occasion hardly seems a suitable one to discuss such subjects. We're here today as friends and want to forget our differences and enjoy ourselves for a few hours. But... after what Mr. Sweater has said, I am quite ready to reply to him to the best of my ability. The fact that I am a socialist and that I am here today as one of Mr. Rushton's employees should be an answer to the charge that socialists are too lazy to work for their living.
4. Move my counter, please, Frankie, whilst I answer the door.
All right.
Mary, whatever's the matter?
Is Ruth with you? No, she came a short while ago and left with the baby. God, Elsie, Charlie and Freddie. Inside, playing happily. What's wrong? Ruth left a note. She intends doing away with herself and the baby. Her mind must have gone. I should have seen it coming this last week. I shouldn't have left her for the workhouse. Don't reproach yourself. Let me see the note. All seemed well when I left her. She seemed at peace with herself. Resigned to her fate. The note gives no clue. What should we do? Go to the police? No, not yet. We don't want her arrested for threatening harm to herself or the child. What then? I don't know. Perhaps it would be better trying to find her. We need help and all the men are at the Beano. We must alert anyone who can search.
And as to taking advantage of the ignorance and simplicity of working men and trying to mislead them with nonsensical claptrap, it would have been more to the point if Mr. Sweater had taken some particular socialist doctrine and had proved it to be untrue. Or misleading, instead of adopting the cowardly method of making vague, general charges that he cannot substantiate. He would find it far more difficult to do that than for a socialist to show that most of what Mr. Sweater has been telling us is nonsense, of the most misleading kind.
Come on, mateys. Let's have a song! Henry VIII, I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. I got married to the winner next door.
Anything? She has her father over on the Winley Road. Perhaps she went there.
Not in her hour of need. She's not on friendly terms with her stepmother.
What of her husband's family?
That's where Mary may go into.
Everyone was an Henry.
A fine speech, Barrington.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Yes, you needn't trouble yourself with turning up for work on Monday morning, or any other morning after, as Rushtons can well do without your sort.
She's been married 7 times before.
Oh, dear God. She can't have gone very far. She's so frail. Isn't that young Bert White? Yeah. Bert! It's Nora Owen and Mary Linden.
Oh, just fetching a loaf for Mum. Are they home from the Beano yet? I was told I was too young. I'd have been happy to make up a cricket side and drink only ginger ale.
I'm sure you would have been a great asset, but their loss is our gain. We have a search to be done, and you will be a fine help.
Come back next year, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Lionel. Bundy, Hawkins, you ain't in that break, you're in ours, bringing out the rear.
Crass.
Oh, yes, Mr. Rushton, sir.
Get some stout fellow to give the mayor a leg up. He's not used to such crude ale, and the night air has affected him.
Oh, Ned, assist the mayor into his break. Gentle mind. Who are we waiting for now?
Still tapping up the landlord's daughter.
Oh, drag him away. What you smiling at, Owen, looking down at us as usual?
Not at all, Bob. I think the day went well and is a credit to your organisation.
Oh, right. Well, thank you for that observation. It ain't easy, you know, being in charge of you lot. All aboard!
She could be anywhere, Nora, especially with the state of mind she's in. I still don't think she'll have travelled far. She won't have money and will be too weak to walk for long.
That you, Mrs. Easton? You all right? Mrs. Easton, it's Bert what works with your husband at Rushton's, you know me?
Pass me by, Bert.
Lots of people are looking for you. The baby all right?
She's coming with me.
We'd best get you both home, Mrs. Easton.
What's going on here, then?
I've been sent to find Mrs. Easton, and I have, Constable.
Is this youth harassing you, missus?
No.
Don't be afraid of saying. You look half scared to death. I know what these sort of lads are like, roaming these streets.
I ain't done nothing but what I'm told.
Tell me exactly what's going on.
Well, Mrs. Easton's not in the best of health, and the baby's only a couple of weeks old. There's lots of people out looking for her, thinking she might...
Might what?
I'm so ashamed. And thank God to be found before I could do any harm.
Don't say any more, my dear. Let the boy tell me of his actions.
I says to myself, if a rescue's called for, I'll first find who needs rescuing. If I was reading this in a penny horrible, what might happen? Mrs. Easton would never have a gun for a use or a dagger.
Do you think I could...
Hush now, Mrs. Easton. It's the boy's tale.
I'm thinking it's a park lake. That'll be the way. I tried the gate, but they was locked. Then I thought, there's a stretch with no railings, and maybe that's where she'd head to gain access. And that's what she'd done. Not knowing there's new railings preventing her entry to the park and the lake, I finds both here exhausted, and then you comes along.
You're a very imaginative young man. I'll take Mrs. Easton and her child home. You call off the search.
Mrs. Owen, over here! Here, it's Bert!
Oh, Bert. Have you news?
Yeah, I'm good at that.
Has Ruth been found?
And the baby.
Are they?
Both alive, Mrs. Owen. The cold and the baby was crying from hunger, I expect.
Where are they?
A policeman's escorting her home. I was to find you and tell you what had happened. I found her.
Where?
By the new park railings. I says to myself, if I was reading this in a penny horrible, what might happen? Well, Mrs. Easton would never have a gun at her use or a dagger. I heard you says, Mrs. Linden says, no kitchen knives were missing, so's a body gonna kill themselves?
So horrific that you thought like
It's
that.
a good job I did. It's a park lake. That'll be the way, and that's where I went. I tried gates, but they was locked. Then I thought there's a stretch with no railings, and maybe that's where she'd head to gain access. That's what she'd done.
She told you that?
Yeah, her not knowing there was new railings preventing her entrance at Park Lake. What luck was that, Mrs. Owen? I finds them there exhausted.
But you are a clever young man.
Yeah, you tell anybody that who says I waste my money on penny horribles.
I'll call back later, now that you're here, ladies.
Thank you so much, officer.
I think it best if I don't write it up in my notebook, or tell the sergeant.
We would be so grateful.
Charging her would do nobody any good.
Very thoughtful. Thank you so much.
I'll see you later, Mrs. Easton.
Thank you.
Ruth, thank God you're all right.
I should never have left you.
You had to see to the old ones. I'm so ashamed.
You needed help and we are here to give it.
Thank you. You've both done so much for me, and I'll never be able to repay you.
Finding you both safe and well is repayment enough.
And what about young Bertie and his skilled detective work?
Thank you, Bert. You saved my life when perhaps I wasn't deserving.
I'm glad to help, Mrs. Easton.
Of course you were. Like all true heroes, you look suitably embarrassed by the fuss. Why don't you go and buy yourself a fresh penny horrible?
Oh, thank you very much. Do you want me to wait on Wayside and alert William when his break passes?
If that's convenient for you, and make sure your mother knows where you are. We don't want more worry and searching.
I'll go then.
Thanks, Bert.
It's all right, Ruth. Shh. Hush now, it's all right.
I do fear I wanted to harm her, and it's not the little mite's fault.
No harm has come to either of you. When the hour's upon you, you fail to hurt yourself or the baby.
My fear is still that I might, or that William will be overcome with sudden hatred of the proof of my infidelity.
Ruth, this may be for another time, but you were raped, not unfaithful.
No jury would convict me. Right, Owen?
You are sadly mistaken if you think you could get away with murdering Slime because of his supposed crime.
There's no supposed about it. The living proof of the union lies in your house. I have my honour to defend.
Honour? What a misplaced sentiment. You have 3 human beings to provide for. That is where your honour lies.
I've been greatly wronged. I will take Freddie with me. I'll pay Mary Linden to look after him, and the bastard child will be put in an orphanage.
And Ruth?
Well, she'll fend as best she can.
It seems to me that you're taking a high and mighty view, as if none of the fault lies at your feet.
Exactly right, Frank. I am the wronged party.
And slightly the worse for wear from drink. Try sleeping the rest of the journey, and maybe you'll wake up with a fresh plan in mind.
Whoa! Have we come to another inn?
No, it's young Bert. Missing our company so much, Bert.
No, I'm looking for William Easton. Is he on this break?
He is, Bert, and fast asleep. What's to do?
I've a sad story to relate.
Don't go thundering in, William.
You, what are you running for?
To confirm more shame on me.
Stop right there. What is going on?
Perhaps best to accompany me, officer.
You two, leave.
William.
I want to talk to me wife.
Sit down calmly and let us tell you the situation.
Calmly. Everybody wants me to be calm when I'm so wronged in all this. You look all right to me, Ruth. Have I been prevented from a last drink in the cricketers by a fabrication?
Hold your tongue, young man.
I'm not of any man. Police said otherwise. Talk like that to me in my own bedroom.
You're upsetting Ruth.
Not a tenth as much upset as I've been through these past few weeks. I'm told you desired to end it all. I see no gunshot wound, no gaping slash from a knife. Was it your desire to sleep yourself to death?
Easton, you are drunk and stupid! Leave the room now and let's assemble some order.
Take heed of your friend. I remember you, and these premises. That night you said your clock had stopped, and you were loitering by the jewellery shop.
I was not loitering. I needed to know the time. Get out of here now!
The constable has been most helpful and thoughtful. You must not antagonise him.
He should be finding slime and making him pay for all he's done. Get out and on the street!
Do not touch me!
William, sober up. You've work tomorrow.
This is not helping Ruth.
Get out and give us some peace.
I'm officially warning you.
Out! All of you! I need to question my wife!
Leave her!
William, no!
Stop
Right, that's it. Come on. Come on.
Not a day easily forgotten.
I think Easton might wish to forget a considerable amount of it.
I've seen him like that before.
Neither have I. The result of past month's drinking with Crass at the cricketers.
Crass will not seek his company now that he is in custody.
Nor pay a fine if one results.
Let's hope it won't come to that.
Well, if he's freed before tomorrow and makes it into work, it's because you made a good defence for him. I think the policeman was impressed with your reasoning.
I hope so. Does anybody know the whereabouts of Slime?
Not that I know of.
It's a sorry tale. But what was the highlight of your Beano?
Barrington's spirited reply to the nonsense spouted by our esteemed mayor.
Barrington wasn't drunk, was he?
No, far from it. A man of temperance. Unlike old Misery, who was seen to be topping up his ginger beer with gin.
Oh, strange day that could have contained a terrible tragedy.
Yes, but there's a long way to go before the problem of the Eastons and the baby is resolved.
I believe Ruth wholeheartedly.
So do I. But no matter which side we take, there is still the welfare of the unwanted child.
Destined for an orphanage and all that might entail.
Or...
It's a tall one, all right.
Well, don't waste time looking at it. Get the equipment ready for when they return with a 65er.
Who'll have the pleasure of ascending?
Nobody if this weather keeps up. I'll be the judge of that. Crass!
Oh, yes, sir.
These men are falling into bad ways. We don't pay them for their opinions.
Well, there's not much to do, sir, until the ladder arrives.
Who have you sent to collect it?
Owen, young Bert and Bundy. They'll be along with it presently.
And what word of Easton?
To be released at noon today, Mr. Hunter, and as there was no real harm done...
No harm done. He was the talk of the town yesterday.
But he's not to face a magistrate, sir. The police constable spoke up for him. May I ask what his position will be in the firm now, Mr. Hunter?
You may not, Philpot. Isn't it bad enough that you stood idle, than to mortify me more by insolence?
The lads are in view with the ladder.
It's a terrible price to pay if he lost his job with 2 nippers now to care for. It was his strange circumstances, and having 1 or 2 too many at the Beano.
Well, he should have considered that at the time.
And shouldn't we consider a good day had by all, masters and men mixing together in great spirit? I even noticed yourself, Mr. Hunter, the greatest example of temperance we have, had a drink or 2.
What?
It's true, sir. The odd gin in the ginger beer, no harm done.
Get that ladder offloaded and up against the gable end. We've wasted enough time here.
Should we not let this wind pass?
Don't you play the fool with me, Owen. This work has to be completed today. We've lost enough money on this job. Philpot, fill a pail and get up there.
Me, Mr. Hunter?
Yes, you, Philpot. It's what you're paid for doing, isn't it?
But I...
What?
Well, I've never worked the top of the 65er for many years.
Are you telling me you're too old to work?
No, it's not that. When I remarked about the gin, I never
We're not
meant...
tittle-tattling now, Philpot. There's a job to be done. Are you refusing?
I'll do it, Mr. Hunter.
Very good. That's what I like to hear. Here we go. Now hoist the ladder. And Crass.
Yes, Mr. Hunter?
Fill out Philpot's timesheet, then he can go to the office and collect his money.
Now, sir?
Yes. He's obviously too old to be of any use to us.
You'd have me in the workhouse alongside old Jack Linden.
It's no concern of mine where you end up.
I've told you I'll climb the ladder. That's an end to the matter.
Oh, it's an end to it, all right. Crass. Philpot's timesheet.
No, wait.
For what?
I'll go up as bid, Mr. Hunter.
You can't do it, Joe.
If I can't, then the timesheet will be signed off forevermore.
Correct.
It's my decision, mateys. Don't fret.
Bundy, you and me on the base. The rest of you walk the ladder up.
Support it all you can, lads.
Don't worry about that, Joe.
The wind is getting stronger.
Tight hold and as much weight on the bottom as we can muster.
One rung at a time, Joe, and don't look down. He's no faith in himself.
Which means his mind is not on the job.
He volunteered. You all know that.
Steady, Joe, steady.
It moved then. Getting closer to the ladder, Joe.
It's going!
Joe!
Frank?
William?
You're late.
We were the last to leave. You look rather pleased with yourself.
I'm willing to take Ruth back.
And the baby?
Should occur as to the future of a child that isn't my own.
You'd condemn an innocent child to an orphanage?
The pressing matters care of my immediate family, not of a child conceived by others.
Would a second child born of your wife be such a heavy burden?
How could I have it as a constant reminder of her infidelity?
She was taken advantage of while you drank and neglected your responsibilities. Accept them now.
I can't, Frank. I'd be a good husband to Ruth and a worthy father for Freddie. But the bastard child mustn't blight our family.
A child left without guidance and good example can't be blamed for becoming feral.
With all that's happened to me, I don't see any alternative.
If you can persuade Ruth to return to you, we'll take the child.
Do you think your wife will be willing?
She has already suggested doing so.
To Ruth?
No, to me. We thought it a possible way for you.
But would you be able to afford it?
We should manage, each with a mouthful less food.
If Slime were to come back, he might agree to pay something for its keep.
I wouldn't take his money.
Would you mind asking Nora to suggest it to Ruth?
No. You seem to think that you are acting a very generous part in being willing to have her back. But she's better off now than she was with you. I see no reason, except for Freddie, why she should go back to you. As far as I understand it, you had a good wife and you ill-treated her.
I never raised my hand to her. Does she say I ill-treated her?
You may not have struck her, but you did worse. You treated her with indifference and exposed her to Slime's temptation. What has happened is the natural result of your neglect and want of care for her.
It was not my fault.
The responsibility for what has happened is mainly yours. It seems to me that it would be more fitting that you should ask her to forgive you.
Frank, I'd take it as the greatest favour if you and Nora would help us.
What can I say about Councillor Rushton? I have known of him for years,
by his reputation of being a philanthropist, businessman, and benevolent employer, when I was asked to perform this funeral of one of his most respected and long-serving employees, Joseph Philpott, I was honoured. It is typical of Councillor Rushton to oversee the burial arrangements personally, in every detail.
I'm surprised to see you here, Barrington.
Losing my job didn't make me lose the will to pay respect for a fellow worker.
Hello, Barrington.
Bundy?
Sad place to see you again.
Indeed, Sawkins.
Hello, Mr. Barrington.
Hello, young Bert. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good to see you, George.
You too, friend.
I don't suppose you found a better job than you had at Rushton and Co. I'd go as far as to say it's impossible to find more esteemed employers. I don't think this solemn occasion's a place to show mirth.
You hypocrite. I know the circumstances of poor Joe's death.
What are you saying? Philpott went up that ladder willingly. Everybody knows that.
The people you refer to are trapped and persecuted by a system that gives despicable people like you the power of life and death over them. They have to remain silent.
Don't you speak to Mr. Hunter like that.
Shut up, Crass. You're a pathetic lackey.
Once Mr. Rushton hears about this graveside sacrilege, you'll never work round here again.
I worked for Rushton to see how life is lived by the majority. My father is a wealthy man. He doesn't approve of my opinions, but at the same time he doesn't interfere with me holding them. And I have a liberal allowance, which I spend in my own way. I'm going away now, but will return before the next election.
What are you talking about?
I intend to fit out a socialist van and return here. We'll have some of the best speakers in the movement. We'll hold meetings every night. We'll drench this town with literature, and we'll start a vigorous branch of the Socialist Party.
Startling and great news, George.
That won't be easy.
Nothing worthwhile, really worthwhile, is.
Do you see yourself as our MP, Barrington?
Unless we find someone better, Sawkins.
Right, you lot. Into your work clothes. Let's not abuse Mr. Rushton's benevolence.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You all heard what Mr. Hunter said. There's work to be done.
You played your covert part well, but the smooth hands betrayed you.
You never questioned me.
That was your business.
So is this. To be opened when you get home.
What's this?
Just a few lines, showing my appreciation of your tutelage and friendship these past few months. Goodbye, Frank. See you soon.
I hope so. Goodbye, George.
Hey! That brick just missed my head!
Who's throwing soap from yon window?
Move the rubble!
God, I've a thirst I wouldn't sell, Easton. The cricketers has never seemed so welcoming.
Not tonight, Bob. Not for me.
You'd have me drink alone?
No. No danger of that. There's my name on only too willing to fill up your glass.
I don't know how we'll manage with the little child, but we'll not give her up to an orphanage. Not while there's breath in my body.
You are our strength, Nora. You and the millions like you conjuring up a meal every day, seemingly from nothing.
Let's hope the struggle will be less for the children in their time.
It will be, if Barrington and our beliefs triumph. Oh.
What?
The letter. Dear Owen, enclosed you will find £25.
I've never seen so much money. Whose is it?
I beg you will accept it from me in the same spirit that I offer it, and as I would accept it from you if our positions were reversed. And take milk and honey with a clear conscience. If I were in need, I know that you would willingly share with me whatever you had, and I could not hurt you by refusing.
Edson, food, clothing, rent, the necessaries of life.
We fight the good fight as equals. From the ruins of the capitalist system will surely grow the glorious fabric of the cooperative commonwealth. A light will shine, awaking mankind from the long night of bondage. It will show the brotherhood, goodwill, and joy of man. The golden light will be diffused throughout all the happy world from the rays of the risen sun of socialism. In the final episode of the Ragged-Trousered Philanthropists, Nora was played by Raquel Cassidy, Mary was played by Emma Fryer, Ruth by Shirley Henderson, Bundy by Tony Pitts, and Crass by Timothy Spall. Easton was played by Johnny Vegas, Owen by Andrew Lincoln, Philpott by Tony Haygarth, and Sweater, Dawson, and Mr. Didlum by Rupert Degas. Reverend Starr and Barrington were played by Tom Goodman Hill, Rushton by Bill Bailey, Sawkins by Andrew Langtree, and Burt by Des O'Malley. Hunter was played by Paul Whitehouse, Lyndon by Philip Jackson, and Mrs. Lyndon by Gwyneth Powell. Frankie was played by Robert Madge, Charlie by Jake Pratt, and Elsie by Yasmin Garrod. The Policeman was played by John Prescott MP. The Ragged-Trousered Philanthropists by Robert Tressel was adapted for radio by Andrew Lynch. The producers were Rebecca Pinfield and Johnny Vegas, and the director was Dirk Maggs. It was an above-the-title production in association with Woollyback Productions for BBC Radio 4.